So I was laughing just now because I was going to record this maybe later today if I had time and I had the energy for it. And I was about to go sit out in the backyard and just journal and kind of read or whatever. And my house is being painted. And so I tried to go out my back door and there was a guy on a ladder right outside painting the door. And I was like, okay, I can't go out that way. And I tried to open my front door and they have plastic over it. So I can't get out that way either. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm really supposed to record this right now. So here we go. But before we do, real quick, if you don't know me, hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a human design guide and teacher, and I also love manifestation, which is what we will be talking about today. And specifically, I wanted to talk about something that actually came up for me recently, which is how easy it can be to get caught up in these techniques when it comes to manifestation rather than focusing on the actual experience of being in the feeling of what you want, because that's always the goal. It's always the goal to be in the vibration of what it is you want. And there are so many different, universal laws that phrase this differently. You can look at it from so many different angles. Law of attraction, law of assumption, law of this, that, and the other thing. Not really important, but the point is that ultimately at the end of the day, what we want is to feel that feeling of the thing being here, that experience already being here, that reality being true for us. That's the goal. So it's like whatever gets you there, and that's awesome. So it's about living in the end. It's about living as if it's done. And that's the energy that we want to hold because then that's what we see come to be in our lives. And the issue is that when we get so caught up in like all the steps there, then we just keep perpetuating being in the step by step part of it. Like we keep perpetuating being on the journey there, and we keep ourselves in this situation where we don't actually have the thing that we want because we're not focusing on that first. Like that is the most important thing, not all these processes that you may have been told or convinced yourself that you need to do in order to get to what it is you want. And what I want to say too is that, techniques like vision boarding, affirmations, robotic affirmations, mirror work, writing out what you want, getting into a state of sleep, akin to sleep, as Neville Goddard calls it, and then really feeling as if you were already there as you go to sleep. All of this stuff, that's awesome. Like if that works for you, that's fantastic. I'm not saying that these are inherently bad or wrong or that you shouldn't be doing them. And I want you to keep doing that. I want to empower you to use what works for you because it works for you. Like, there's no other question there then. That's what works, and you can keep doing that. So I'm not saying that that is a problem. However, what can be a problem is when we confuse that for the process of manifesting rather than actually like feeling the feelings and feeling like that reality is here already, because that's actually the key. And all these other things, they're all trying to get you there. Like that's the point of those things. So it's not that stuff that's the answer. It's the fact that they aid you in getting to the actual answer, which is being in the feeling of what you want and assuming it to be true. Again, all these different, excuse me, all these different laws just say it in the same thing in different ways. All these different manifestation teachers, all these people, spewing this stuff on YouTube like me, we're all saying the same thing in different ways. And pretty much any manifestation teacher worth their salt will tell you that because it's the truth. So that's the thing. It's not that like these techniques are a problem, but it's sort of like these things. I heard this metaphor or analogy. I can never remember which one it is, but I heard this explanation of this the other day where it's like these things, these affirmations, vision boards, journaling, drawing out what you want, however it is that you do this kind of thing, whatever practices you like to use, those are not the ride. They are the training wheels. They're what support you. They're what allow you to either learn how to ride your bike or just give you more support and foundation. You can even like look at them actually like as the bike, but they're not the destination, right? That's not it. Like they're not the ride and they're also not the destination. And the issue is that when we don't see that, we can get so caught up in the doing and the, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing all the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. I'm using this law, I'm following what this person said. I'm writing down what I want every day. And it's still not here. And that's because you're kind of like keeping yourself in the process rather than just getting to the feeling. So if the thing that you're doing doesn't get you there and doesn't help you feel that way, then it's not really worth doing it because at the end of the day, it's the feeling. That's really the most effective thing. And really all you need to do, all this other stuff is just trying to get you there. And even with other things like human design. So I'm a human design teacher and guide, like I said, and I actually have a course right now about manifesting with your design, but it's not because you have to use that. Like this to me, this is a tool that makes it easier. Like by knowing how you're built for things to probably work in the easiest way for you, you can use that and you don't have to be like forcing yourself to work in ways that you maybe you've been trained to think that you have to do things. And instead you can just rely on what feels right to you. Like that's the whole point of this. It's like to bring you back to what naturally feels good. But even then, like if you kind of already know that and you trust that, you don't necessarily have to use this. It's just something that I've seen be very helpful for me in my own life and very helpful for my clients. Like I've heard really cool manifestation stories from my clients using this, and then also from people who just like have a certain energy type or have a certain design. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so in line with what your design is. That's so cool. It's not necessary, but it's something that could help. That's the case with all of these techniques. I realized this the other day because I've wanted something for a while. And I was like, okay, I can feel myself having this now. It popped up. I was like, oh, it could be really easy. I think I've been making it harder than it actually has to be. And I really could feel it. I could tap into that feeling for the first time in a while. I was like, oh, this is what it would feel like if it were here. That's awesome. And then I had this weird feeling where I was like, no, but I have to visualize this first. I was like, I have to go to bed and do my visualization, listen to my meditations. And I thought, wait, why? That's actually really dumb. I don't need to do that because I've already gotten to this point. I already feel this thing. And now my only job is to let go and trust. And that's another thing too. Sometimes, we hold on to these techniques or these practices because we're afraid that it's not enough to feel the feeling and then let go and allow this thing to come into reality. We think we have to do more when we really don't. It's just that we don't trust that. So what I just kind of wanted to make this quick video, or if you're listening to this on podcast, this quick little note that you don't have to make it harder than it is. Like if you can just feel the feeling and you can embody it in any way that takes you there, then that's great. That's fine. And if these things that I said really help you, if having a gratitude practice helps you, if visualizing helps you, if affirmations help you, mirror work, whatever it is that you choose. If you're like, well, no, Ariana, that stuff has really worked for me. I've seen incredible things manifest in my life. Power to you. I, by no stretch of the imagination, am I saying that those things are bad or you shouldn't be doing them. It's important to look at what our actual goal with this is here. And sometimes it can be sneaky. Like we don't realize that we're kind of just keeping ourselves where we are by doing this stuff, maybe because we're afraid of actually having the thing, or we don't think it can be that easy, or we've just put conditions on how it should look and how we should receive this and what we have to do for it, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think it's very worthwhile to look at this and ask ourselves whether these practices are serving us or not. Because if they're not, then there may be another way that would work for you, and that's great. Or maybe it's actually like it's pretty simple and you don't need to go through all these steps to get to that state where you're feeling what you would be feeling when you had the thing, and therefore the state through which you will manifest what you want. So that's it for me today. It's a really short one. I just had this nugget that I needed to share. As always, you rock, and I will talk to you next time.